What's the difference between curation and spinning for those who aren't familiar with what spinning articles is?
Well, one of the things that people have been doing since Google really was around is building backlinks to their content or to the pages on their website that they want to rank, so that they can rank in the Google search results, so that they can get traffic. Well, one of the things that works is building backlinks, and so there's this myth out there about content having to be unique, 100% unique, or else the backlinks don't count. Then there's that's, we can debate that all we want. That's not what this discussion's about anyways. But so what people do is they'll go out and they'll take content, because just like I mentioned, not being an expert or a writer or an expert in any particular subject matter, people don't want to go out and write articles about stuff they know nothing about or whatever. So what they'll do is go find somebody else's article and they'll copy it, and then they'll put it through a spinning software, which basically finds synonyms and replaces words with other synonyms and stuff like that. And it's all done mechanically. You know what I mean? It's done.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's, I mean, you could spin manually, and then it would probably be very readable, but that's a very laborious process.
You're defeating the purpose of.
Yeah, it's not efficient at all. And so my point is, people use these tools to be able to spin. I mean, I've done it. I've been in SEO forever, and I've got access to spinning tools. I still use them sometimes to this day, but in the right places. What people do is they'll spin the article, and then they'll go post that in a bunch of places. Well, it's really crappy. It comes out, doesn't read well. And if you hire a content farm to write articles, which are like, there's a million of them out there. They're a dime a dozen. And that's where you get somebody to write articles for you for about topics. That's all they do, is they just go copy an article from an article directory, like eZine Articles, for example, and they'll put it into a spinner, spin it, and then they'll go and manually clean up the spin tax a little bit to make it more readable. But they do that very, very quickly too. And so when you pay, and you end up paying like $3, $4 for an article that you would use for link building purposes, and it's crappy article.
Right.
So instead, if you can train a virtual assistant like I have from the Philippines, I pay about $4 an hour roughly, and they can do 3 posts in an hour, curated posts. And these are posts that, again, there's very little original content within the post, other than just them explaining what the topic of the post is going to be and inciting some sources to reinforce what the topic of the post is. And in between each piece of content, they inject a small commentary or their opinion. They inject their own voice into the article, as to like, okay, so that what you just read was blah 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 blah, and but in the next section you're going to read about blah blah blah, and then they cite the next source of content. So my point is they don't have to be subject matter experts, and they can produce like 3 posts in about an hour roughly. And so I'm only paying, about $1.50 per post. And those posts come out, they're much higher quality. They will pass manual review. In other words, if a Google spam team member was to look at a curated post, 9 times out of 10, if it was curated properly, that post will pass. Instead of being considered a spam article, it will pass as a valid article. And alternatively, if you were to have that article that went through a spin, or you bought from a content farm, which was a really crappy article, and it was posted on some site somewhere with a backlink to your website, that's going to be considered a spam article, and that link's going to be devalued. But if you have a curated post out there that's citing 2 or 3 other high authority sources, or sources that have a lot of social engagement, and it also links back to your website, your money site, and a Google Spam Action team member was to look at that post, they're going to see that there's a coherent post there that's citing several good sources, and they're linking to various sources, and they're all relevant and related content, if that makes sense. And so then you end up also, like I said, the benefit from that is then there's something called co-citation. It's a little bit more geeky SEO stuff, but co-citation is when there's a relationship, a relationship established by Google between entities, even that don't have a physical backlink between them, because there's another piece of content or digital, a web page out there on the web that's linking to 2 different separate sources that have a relationship. So Google will associate the 2 through the third party that was linking to the 2, but there's no actual physical link between the 2. It's called co-citation. So you get the benefit of co-citation to your money site, your target site, by linking from another source to your site and also to other related relevant articles, again, particularly high authority or high social engagement. And so some of that will rub off onto your site without even having those other sites physically linking to you, if that makes sense. It's a bit more geeky SEO stuff, but it works really, really well. And that's another reason why curated content works so much better than original content, unless you're an expert writer in that subject,
Yeah. Okay.
or content farm content.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So all of my fears of getting started have been quelled thanks to your explanations.